several interesting things that we've looked underneath is these, they look like protection bars for the transmission. There's 3 of them that go across. And then these boxes, and then I'll show you them from the inside of the car. Interesting, the angle, I guess it's maybe to protect the rear end that they're angled like that, but they're just wood, so I don't know how much that would protect, but you can see there's one on each side, but they have a really kind of a steep angle that they're up high here in the front, and then they go way down towards the rear. And then, and then the exhaust. It's really interesting. I think Michael said it had he's not here now, but he said it had a cutoff. But you can see, goes along here, and then there's, I think there's 2 pipes. There's the one, there's the other, and I'll go around to the back of that so we can see what it looks like from the back. These fenders look like there's an attempt to antique them, so to speak, like, you know, almost like varnish or something was brushed on to maybe give it an old look at some point. But the bonnet is really interesting. There's no engine turning here, but the rest of it, of course, is all engine turned. But the really kind of interesting thing we noticed today reminded me of the 26 Chevrolet, the riveting, because it has these kind of, like, I don't know what you would call them, hidden rivets. So you can see there's 1, 2. They're all along there. You just don't see them. And then they're on here too. This side you can see there's 1, 2. And that's how it connects to that's how it's connected to the hinge. So that's the back side of those rivets. I guess that's the same thing down here. And then you've seen this in the pictures, but the firewall and the wiring looks ancient or original or something to me. And although this looks like this had some restoration at some point, it looks like there's some soldering. And Michael thinks it has this kind of copper color because it was cleaned with acid or something like that, although the hardware aspect of it looks, you know, look here, looks old. And then that wiring all comes together. So you see over here it comes up, and then this comes up, and then it all goes through. I guess it all goes through here. Since we were just talking about the rivets on the, there they are too, on the bonnet, now I see that that this cowl is riveted here, although the riveting is not as pretty. I assume this is for a windshield because it doesn't continue beyond there, so it kind of has this line here, like a windshield, kind of just for the driver. Emergency brake out here. And that looks like a piece of aluminum on the inside of the firewall. So those boxes we were looking at before, they're here, kind of under the seats. And you can see, kind of hard to tell here, but it's very slanted towards the back. It's interesting they would have done that. Oh, and then it also goes forward quite a ways, about 5 inches forward too. And then underneath that cover, there's a compartment. It doesn't look very old, but there's a compartment where it's set up for a battery. Interesting little things that I noticed is has these little, I don't know, some hardware hooks for straps. I think they're usually for straps, but it's just interesting because there's one here, there's one here, and then on the other side, it's not uniform because there's just one. You can see it right there. Looking at the brakes, because I saw in the book that the backing plates said Montier on them, and these don't say anything. They're big, but they're slotted here, but they don't see. Can't find that they say anything on the inside, and I guess maybe this is aluminum, and then I don't think they say anything on the outside either. But the one thing I noticed that was interesting is that they're different in the back because they're not slotted in the back. I don't know what you've seen, what you haven't from when the car was looked at in California by Pierre, but you saw I sent you the picture today of the radiator plate, and behind the screen is the manufacturer's plate that I sent you earlier. And so then here's a look at the front end. Little number here says T. Here it says, looked at it earlier. And then that number that we looked at before, that Gooding had in their catalog, that looked like it was a chassis number or something. That's this number right here. 12756. But what I wanted to show you is just the front end, the suspension, and then these are marked. I think these are marked front and rear. You can see the writing. I think it says Hartford, and the rest of it is in French. So those are the same, I think, front and rear. Before I go to the back, I know you're familiar with what the bottom of the motor looks like, but just thought I would include that. And so Michael did see that there is as you had said, there is an oil pump fitted to the car. So we looked that over today. Pretty neat. See what else I can see under here. Not much.